So can I pick up on the defence? So thanks very much for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, defence is one of those issues that's close to my heart. And one of the reasons that we're really grateful for you to come in is that, not really from a political perspective, but defence feels like it's in a difficult position at the moment. The world feels like a more dangerous place than it's ever been. We're only spending 2% defence budget. Even the government is turning around and saying we want to spend more. But it feels like one of those moments where Labour's going to inherit an empty bank balance and a whole load of commitments. Defence is only one of them. How are they going to square that circle?
Well, let me just make clear that who I'm speaking for. I can only speak for myself. I'm a Labour member. I'm a journalist who openly supports Labour. I've tried to make the going a bit in terms of Labour's defence debates and set agendas, and this is a big agenda of mine. So when I say what I say in this podcast is my position only, not from anybody else. Late 1933, Japan and Germany had both walked away from the League of Nations and were quite obviously rearming, and a committee was set up in British government called the Defence Requirements Committee. It was civil servants, not politicians, plus the chiefs of the staff, the three services, and they made what I call a strategic determination. They said Japan's a threat, Germany's a threat. We can't deal with both at the same time, so we're going to make no plans for war with Japan, and we're going to make plans to deter Germany. And that simple threat assessment and then determination is what I think has been missing from all of defence politics. You'll know the Integrated Review 2021, let's go off to the Far East. Well, then Afghanistan happened, then Ukraine happened. So Integrated Review Refresh 2023 recognises that Russia is a threat, but there's no machinery of government that says, right, we can see the new threat. Some of our allies are putting timescales on that. You'll know that the Bundeswehr is doing exercises about 3 years' time for an Article 5 crisis. British governance, whichever party is in power, needs to have to make a strategic determination. What's the threat? How soon is it coming? And what role are we going to play in NATO to deter it?
What I want somebody on day 2 to be strong on a number of things, and defence is one of them.
Yeah.
Now, the Americans have got something called the executive order, so you can pile on big decisions very quickly.
Yeah.
My question would be, what can a Labour government, what can Keir Starmer do early to send a very, very strong message to people like me that we've got a grip, and also a strong message to other, would-be enemies?
The way it works is that they're going to ask their civil servants and military chiefs what those options might be. Because if you want to do something proactive, if something bad is happening at the moment where and it might be, because here's the thing, both for the American election and for our election, these are perfect time points for Putin to try something. And so if something bad is going on, you'd want him to react very strongly to it. If you're asking what can we do proactively, I think that's where you go in and you say on day one to the military chiefs, what have you got in the locker? What is there? I mean, I presume there are options that are, and again the timing of it. Suppose the UK election is in mid-October, and then
I think Vern's point though is less about military actions. It's been even the news. I think it was today or yesterday. They said that the world, the West, is desperately looking for leadership.
Yeah.
And we've got none at the moment. We've got a government who's not in power.
Yeah, and Sunak is not that interested in Ukraine. I mean, I think the Labour front bench is interested in Ukraine, and it's desperate to get its hands on stuff it can do. But here's the thing, and again, some of your viewers might not realise this. There's an assumption that because we have a Privy Council, that Labour politicians somehow are taken inside the Beltway and told what's going on. It's not true.
No.
John Healey said publicly that when the cruise missile went plop into the Caribbean, he was given a briefing that convinced him that this was a one-off. So they get that kind of briefing. They don't get sightlines into everything that's going on, and so they are going to be reliant on the civil servants and the military chiefs to tell them real picture. What's a real picture of what's going on? Because I wouldn't be confident that I could tell you what the real picture of Ukraine is right now, and to give options for proactivity to send signals to us. I think it's just about making clear statements. Like Macron has done. I'd be quite happy to see any Western politicians, Keir Starmer included, make the kind of statements Emmanuel Macron has done, because those signals, as you know from the deterrence theory, are very important for deterrence.
I agree with you, but Macron has gone from being one side of the fence, appeasing, and being Putin's best friend. So there's a lack of consistency when he suddenly, and everybody's going, why is he doing that? It's obviously self-serving in some respects. Keir Starmer doesn't have any of that backdrop. He could, even from a position at the moment, be building a sense that I'm not a man to be messed with. Putin's a bully on the world stage. I am not privy to all the options available.
And the good thing is he's unknown.
Yeah.
He's been seen as a leader of an opposition party, never been seen as a leader. So actually, he's got no baggage at all in a way.
It's true. And I'd say go back and look at what he did over Gaza. There was a quite obvious decision, because when the Gaza the atrocity took place, and then in a few weeks after that, it coincided with a crisis inside the government. And so, the feeling inside the top Labour circles was probably we could be in power quite quickly. We could be in power while this is in its hot phase. And therefore, the last thing we can do is start signalling either. We can't signal anything really that's different. We have to triangulate between what Biden is doing and what Sunak is doing, because otherwise the shaky allies and the adversary in the Middle East is going to look at Labour as a weak link and say, oh well, we can wait 3 weeks and then this guy's going to come in and we'll push him around. And I think the way Starmer reacted, which annoyed a lot of his own mass base in the party, was driven by that feeling. And I would expect that assumption to be something that you would get from a Labour government. That is, we're up for whatever expert advice tells us needs to be done, but we are not going to walk in with some kind of gung-ho, we thought of this up in our, sitting on our beanbags, with no information.